Oh, well, thank you. Well, I appreciate it. Okay, that was a lot more painful than it needed to be. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and introduce our guest speaker today. This is Jennifer Waters. She has been doing insurance things for 3 decades.
Yes, I hate
Yeah.
to say it.
Um, She's currently has 350 home care clients all over the United States. She was hand selected by WellSky to take over the management of the prior software, which it was called ClearCare for insurance agencies. So she's got a reputation. She's got a lot of foundational background experience, history. So she knows what she's talking about. And I don't know how many of you guys read my little uh incident that happened, and it's one thing to have, a good company, a good person to have your support, but when things actually like hit the fan and you don't know what to do, and it's things that like are completely out of the realm of what you even thought was imaginable, having somebody like Jennifer was one of the biggest things. Like if I was to look back at my business in 10 years from now, that incident would always stand out in my mind because I remember just how calm she was. She literally just diffused the whole situation, and I was so just completely out of it, that I don't even know if I observed what you told me. And so by the time we got off the phone and I was trying to figure out what was going on with my caregiver, Jennifer had already handled the talking to the nurse, the triage, was it the triage?
Yep,
She
nurse
talked to the
triage
nurse triage.
line,
She
getting you
caught
a
all the
claim
information.
number, and then just talking out with you. What are the next steps? It was 7 o'clock on a Sunday night to
Hmm.
to give you guys the details. Um, and so we talked through, what where do we direct your caregiver that's witnessed this trauma? Do we, he just wanted to go home. And it's like, okay, if you need to talk to somebody, you need to go to the ER tonight because the Concentra urgent cares are closed. But if you need care tomorrow, and you may feel okay now and just want to get home, but it could hit you several days from now. Go ahead and go to Concentra. Here's your claim number. Here's your policy number. You know, call me if anything comes up. But, if he needs to be off work because of the trauma, we do need a note from a physician saying so. So you want to direct the medical care. But you were very fortunate. This employee seems to have handled it so far so well. It could be that a month from now he could file a claim for that date. We hope not, because we have filed it with the insurance company, but he might, and that we'll just handle it, and work through him getting better. So, I get a lot of calls from a lot of you that are starting up at home care agencies. All I do is home care agencies. Um, I tried to talk to you about your business and what you're doing and who your clients are going to be so that we can um, personalize your insurance policy. If you are just starting out and you're not with a franchise, I don't want to insurance you to death. I want your business to survive. So we'll get you the insurance you need to get licensed and to give you the minimum coverage. But let's get you up and running. Let me worry about your insurance. You get up and running. Um, and then as your business grows, your insurance needs will grow. But right away, let's not make you crazy with insurance premiums and insurance coverages that you don't need. I just got a call from somebody for Key Man insurance. And my response to them, and I've left them a message, is what makes you think you need Key Man insurance? And usually, and I know she's in her first year of business, she's not in a franchise. I think somebody must have mentioned it to her, but just want to save her some money and say, really, at this point, you need to get your business up and running so you have something to lose. You don't have anything to lose yet. And Keyman insurance is not necessary at this time. Granted, she might have some circumstance that I'm not aware of, but at this time, just looking at it for face value, it doesn't look like she needs key man insurance. And those are some of the conversations I have with my clients. I'll also talk to them about, are you private pay? Are you going through the VA? So that I can tailor their program. Certain companies and say franchises need certain kind of insurance limits met. They also might need admitted insurance carriers. If you're just starting up and you're not in a franchise and you don't have, say you're not going into assisted living facilities, you may not need to have buffed up insurance. You may be able to get by with some narrower, but still good policies. But let's not insurance you to death. Let's get
Mhm.
you to focus on getting your agency up and running so that you can do the home care thing. Just call me and we can talk through anything insurance. And I love it when clients call me when they have a claim. I started in workers' comp claims, so it gives me an opportunity to jump in the beginning and let's report this right. Let's get some attention to that injured worker so that they don't get an attorney, and let's get this handled right. Let's not make this turn into a very expensive workers' comp claims. As much as everybody has to buy insurance, if you have a bad loss history and have losses, insurance companies are out there to make money, and they will you know, non-renew you if you have a lot of losses. So we want to, if you have losses, keep them to a minimum. Let's figure out what we can do, or let's learn from the experience as well. You know, what happened with you know, the incident with Miriam? Like, do we need to maybe not just have a no guns or no firearms policy in the contract, but maybe have a conversation too when you first meet the client and say straight out, are there firearms in the house? Are they
Mhm.
kept in a secure place?
One thing
Does
that you had told me that I didn't even realize it was an option for the type of insurance that we have is like that we have lawyers, we have representation, which I
Mhm.
had no idea. If you want.
Yes. No, I have definitely had clients who run out and hire attorneys, and I'm like, wait, wait, wait. This is why you call me when you have a claim. One of the things about having insurance is the insurance company then defends you and indemnifies you because you have a policy. So they're the ones that are going to go run out and get the attorneys, and they have attorneys that are specialized in insurance, whether it's liability claims, auto claims. You want to let them do their thing. You don't have to get your own attorney. So that's an extreme cost when you have an attorney too. And that's the wonderful thing about insurance companies is they provide the defense as well.
So the one of the questions that I had for you is I know in the beginning, especially newer business owners, especially agency owners, we're not explained what all insurances we need other than like in our, licensing packet if you just
Right.
so happen to be in the state. Is there any like, because I didn't even know that I was paying for some of the things until you pointed it out to me. So for my community, I went with State Fund because that was the only company that would give me a policy. And again, I just Googled everything, and
Mhm.
I had a surety bond, I had liability insurance, and I had State Fund. And I remember I spent like 2 months trying to find what was it, transportation or
Oh,
something?
not non-owned auto. Yeah,
Yes.
we do have a website called trolleycare.com, and I wish I don't know the whole SEO thing of how to get it when somebody's
Yeah.
Googling, you know, insurance for a startup home care agency. I need to work on that. But there are certain things that the licensing requires you. It's crazy to me. I don't know how many of you are in California, but in California, you have to have your insurance all in place before you can even apply for your license, which in California seems to take 4 to 6 months. So it's crazy to me that you have these 4 to 6 months where you are purchasing insurance, but you have no exposure and no exposure to the insurance company. But that's the way they do it. And that's why we try to set you up with minimal policies until you really have a true exposure, like clients and things like that, or transporting clients. And also for workers' compensation, we try to get you on the premium payment plan where you pay as you go. So if you don't have any payroll for the first 6 months, the carriers usually charge a minimum $100 fee per month. And then once you start getting clients, then you're paying your payroll, your workers' comp premiums based on actual payroll. So we're trying to keep your costs to a minimum because our goal is to get you to survive and grow. And if you're getting insurance to death, you won't get that. But there are certain things too, and that's why I usually talk to my clients like, are you going into the Veterans Association? Okay, well, you're going to need these limits of liability, these limits of professional liability, these limits of abuse. Are you transporting clients? And, there's two thoughts on that. One is tell your client to go get Uber, and the other is, I'm going to provide this to my clients because they may need a ride to their doctor's appointments, and it gives me a competitive edge. So you want to make sure that all your caregivers have insurance, minimum limits, they have clean MVRs, motor vehicle records, and then you have $1 million in coverage should something happen. If the client wants them to drive their car, you also want to make sure the client's car has insurance, because if an auto accident happens, the first thing is that the auto that was in the accident, their insurance responds. Then if you get pulled in as the home care owner, your insurance will respond and protect you as well. And of course, you want to run motor vehicle records on all your employees who are driving, because the last thing you want is for somebody to, have a DUI you weren't aware of. They get in a car accident, they might not necessarily have been drinking, but it comes out in your community that you're hiring people with DUIs to drive people's loved ones around. So, it's kind of all a big picture of thinking about all these different things that could harm you reputationally, insurance wise, that could wipe you out financially. We need to protect you so that you can go do the home care thing.
Yeah, and then for the people who are using WellSky, you can actually do the NVR report on WellSky when you hire them. So the way that
Mhm.
we structured it is we do the onboarding, we pay for the MVR, but then on their first paycheck, we reimburse ourselves. So it's like $8. I don't even
Oh, that's great.
yeah, but for California, just so I'm clear, that's the only report in California that we can do on Wall Sky. The fingerprints and the background check has to go through California Department of Social Services. So I know Wall Sky has an option. It's called like Checker or something. We can't use that in California. We have to go through the Department of Social Services with the fingerprint. But you can use the MVR report on there if you are here in California, or if you're in another state. It's a really quick scan, and it's done on onboarding, and you have a record right then and there.
Great, great. Well, the other thing about the WellSky software, WellSky was selling insurance, and they did spin off and send it to us as their insurance agency. When WellSky took over ClearCare, WellSky is huge, and they have so many things that are software related, and they just said, we don't want to mess with insurance here. We know Jennifer and her group, so we're going to send you over to them. But one of the things that ClearCare WellSky software has that you should turn on if you don't already turn it on is when your caregiver goes on their phone to check out of their shift, there is a setting you can set up that says,
Mm.
it asks them a question. Did you have a safe shift? Yes, I had a safe shift. They'll either check yes, I had a safe shift and everything's great, or no, I didn't have a safe shift. And then you're going to get an email, or whoever you designate at your agency is going to get an email or an alert saying this person didn't have a safe shift. If they haven't already told you they had an injury at work, you want to call and find out what's going on and then direct them to an industrial clinic. Um, the carriers that I work with for workers' compensation give credits for the fact that you're using the ClearCare software and it has this kind of safety check in it. So they know right away if there's been an injury because you find out right away and you're telling them. The claims that turn into the biggest problems are the ones that they tell you a month later. oh, by the way,
Hmm.
I've been going to my doctor and I hurt my back at work. And, there's no witnesses around by then. There's nobody to say, hey, the best clinic for you to go to is this industrial clinic. They know how to report to us. And that actually brings up another question you had today, Miriam. It was, if you have an employee that goes out on workers' comp or treats with a doctor for a workers' comp injury, make sure that they bring you a note back saying, I can return to work full duties. Or they bring a note that says, I can return to work, not full duties. I can't do lifting over 20 pounds, say. And then if you have a shift that can accommodate that, you do that. But, don't let somebody go out and see a doctor um, for a medical injury and just come back. You need to get the doctor's permission for them to work. Because I know you said you had a caregiver who wanted to come back to work, but had seen a doctor for an industrial injury. It's like, I want you to come back. We certainly want you, but I need to see that note from the doctor
Yeah, and it
saying,
looks like workers' comp is paying him out. So now that's where I
mhm,
was concerned because I'm like, well, it looks like you got approved for workers' comp, but you just requested a shift like 2 weeks ago, a week ago.
yeah,
So I didn't know if it was just for that time frame. I don't know if you saw the date range, but um, I let the team know that we need to know.
right.
Yeah. Speaking of workers' comp. What is the normal like percentage of workers' comp that someone would pay on payroll? Like, is it a certain percentage of the pay, or like if there's a $50,000 payroll or $20,000 payroll, how much of that normally? Because I know it's pay as you go.
Mhm.
How much is that normally on average for home care agencies? And I know there's a lot of, you know,
Yeah, there's so
yeah,
many,
there's so
there's
much.
so many variables here. So first of all, California, it's one of the states where the workers' comp rate is going to be the highest. I mean, you hear the businesses say, I'm leaving California because after salary, my biggest expense is workers' comp. So that's another reason we want to get involved and help you keep those claims low. Because if your claims go high, your, rates are going to go high. When you first start out, and if I'm talking to you about writing your insurance, one of the things I'm going to ask you is what is your um, experience in managing a home care agency? I want to know your management experience, your experience, helping people so that I write a short bio to my underwriter at the workers' comp company. And I say, look, this isn't somebody off the street that just thought, hey, I think I'm going to make money doing home care. And we all know it's a tough business to be in. We want to know that they've been a caregiver or they've had some management experience. They're going to know how to deal with salaries and budgeting and things like that. So I help, I ask you some questions and then I help write up a paragraph of you to give to my insurance companies so that they know you've got some skills and this isn't just a random thing. Um, and that helps with your rate, things like that, things like knowing that you have the ClearCare software. That can help with your rate. I tell them they have the ClearCare software, they're using the safety programs associated with it. Um, I just, my job is to make you look as good as possible of a client to my insurance companies so that we can get you the best insurance, you know, the the lowest. You want to get the lower price if you can. Workers' comp right now, the rates are staying flat to going down a little bit. Every other part of insurance is going up. Auto insurance is going up. Um, Liability insurance is going up year after year. Right now, workers' comp is staying flat or getting a reduction unless you're having a lot of losses. And if you start having losses, then you and I are going to have a conversation about why are you having losses?
Right.
What's going on? Is it poor hiring choices? And I know it's very hard to hire caregivers. I know that with caregiving, they may be registered at your agency. They also may be registered at another agency and working there. So do we find out about that? There's a lot of questions. And I always tell everybody, you know what, pick up the phone and call me. Cassie, who's on this call too, is my account manager. And either one of us just pick up the phone and call and say, I have a question. You're never going to hear us say, hey, that's a dumb question or not. We'd much rather have communication from you guys and hear and educate you or go, wow, this is a problem. Let's dive in. Let's jump in. I mean, our job is that's our job.
Yeah. Thank you.
So,
Actually, I do want to start if my wonderful community will introduce themselves one by one. And you can either introduce yourself and ask a question, or you can just introduce yourself and let Jennifer and Cassandra know where you guys are at. Just so you guys get to know my people a little bit. So if you guys want to start doing that, anybody can go. Or just put it in the chat too. I can read it off. I'm gonna actually grab my water real quick. So
okay. Just have to unmute yourself and then you can talk.
Yeah, hi, my name is Chinwe.
Hi.
Live in Maryland.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Hmm. And do
So
you have an agency already?
yes, I do.
Oh, good. Good for
But
you.
it's brand new. It's just I'm looking to purchase an insurance. So I don't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Maybe after today I'm gonna give you a call.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Well, you've got my contact, you've got my website. Just give
Um,
me a call and we can talk about, your organization, how many people you have already.
mhm.
Do you take private pay? Do you take Medicaid? Do you take Medicare?
Only
Um,
private pay and
yeah,
long-term insurance.
good,
Yeah.
good. I'm watching all my clients on who's taken what because I just heard there's more VA cuts, so that may make reimbursement from the VA harder to get. We talk about that too.
Okay.
So lot of questions, a lot of, we just talk it through.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
sure. Anyone else have any questions? I know if you look on Miriam's website, somebody had a question yesterday about auto insurance, and we had a big um, conversation there about
oh,
that.
I didn't even see
So,
it. Let me go
oh
over
yeah,
it.
I think it was, I want to say Tanya, if you're on this. And so we talked about, yes, you do want to get non-owned and hired automobile coverage.
Oh, driving patients? Is this the one?
Yes, yes.
Addie, hello.
So
I wanted to find out what agency policies are transporting patients. Do you allow your HHAs to drive the patient in their car or in the client's car? Or do you prohibit caregivers from driving clients generally? If you allow home health aid to drive the patient, how do you charge mileage? Okay.
So that
That's a-
was a big, and I think mileage is prescribed by the federal government on how much they pay mileage wise if you use
The
your car for
IRS
work.
rate is
Yeah, the IRS rate.
70 cents this year. Yeah.
Yeah. But then, you want to make sure you have insurance to cover that. Some carriers don't offer it. Um, People that aren't experienced dealing with home care agencies, because you guys are kind of your own unique situation out there. You have caregivers and slash employees that may be registered and working other places. Your clients, your number of shifts could go up and down depending on the month, depending on what's going on. You may be asked to go into people's homes, which is interesting. Most of the time you are, or to assisted living facilities to assist on that. Um, it's very unique exposure. So you want to talk through, what's going on, and you want somebody that knows. You want somebody that knows that you probably have an exposure, a non-owned auto exposure, which would be your caregiver driving in their car or, going from there.
Ah, that's a yeah, great post. There's a lot of great valuable information on here. Taisha, I'm calling you out, girl. I see your question in here. I have questions. I will meet you on live tomorrow. Let's go. What you got? I'm not feeling well. Okay.
Oh,
Well,
sorry.
I know that
So, hi,
I
you guys. I do have I'm getting over a cold, so my voice is kind of, but I'm currently going through. I do appreciate the uh, question coming up because I am one of the owners that was not aware that I had to have that. Like I should have the non-auto, the one that me and you were
Non-owned
talking.
auto. Yep.
Yes, so I spoke with my carrier this morning, and unfortunately, they didn't provide it, so I have to find another insurance that can provide all of it because they don't have it.
Yeah, I've noticed there is a few carriers and they'll provide, the professional liability and the abuse and the general liability, but when it
Yes,
comes to the auto non-owned, they're like, no. And
yeah,
it's like,
they don't.
if you're providing this to home care agencies, you should know that part of what home care agencies do is transport
Mhm.
clients, whether it's to the grocery store, to doctor's appointments, things like that. Like I question, what they're doing. If, you can't
Exactly.
provide insurance to a niche
Because
of
I asked
business.
my other home care friend, and she was like, "Yeah, she got it." She was like, "It was included."
Hmm.
No one, she didn't have to ask them about it or anything. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is the first I've heard it in a group, and I'm stressing and I start freaking out." So I'm like, "Thank you, thank y'all," because I thought once they get the liquor, they got license, they got insurance. I thought that I was okay to allow the caregiver to transport the clients. So I didn't know that I needed to
No.
get that auto. So I'm currently looking into that.
Okay. Well, you can give me a call too, or Cassandra,
Okay.
my account manager. And that's what we do. We look out for home care agencies. I have one client that's not a home care agency. The rest of my 300 plus clients are all home care agencies. So Cassie and I both speak the home care language. We know that, your employees might be on other people's registries. We know that you are dealing with some of the issues of home care that, like people that have dogs that bite, people that might have firearms in their house, people that may be hoarders. We're just used to that. And so we start talking to you about, what happened here, kind of thing. So do give us a
Yeah, and I
call.
think I'm kind of where Miriam was like, she said they don't tell extra things that is good to have. For me, I
Mhm.
went by what like the application said on the licensing. And it didn't
Yeah.
say it didn't say home, it didn't say none of that. It just was like,
Firearms or vehicle or yeah.
yeah. So I just pretty much at the time got what was required. And I looked back on my policy per the conversation last night and I
Hmm.
seen I actually have that. So I do really appreciate you guys for whoever brought up that question.
Yep. Good.
Or
Yeah, no, I do too. It gave me a chance to kind of showcase.
your
So
wealth of
thank
knowledge.
you.
So
Yes.
Fuad has a question, and I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but he said, "Hello, I'm pulling together licensing requirements for my non-medical home care agency in Pennsylvania. I was just wondering if you offer workers' comp and proof liability when there's
Professional liability.
oh, okay, professional liability when there's no staff yet."
Yes, we do. And I have like different sets of carriers. Being that this is all I do, I have the carriers that know that they're startups, and that's why you and I will sit and have a conversation and we will do a little bio on you so that, they know that you are, um, working with someone or working with a franchise or, you have experience and now you're going to apply it to your own business. Um, and they do know that the licensing takes a while. So they are, we talk about standard, they'll ask you for payroll and revenue that you think you're going to hit the first year. And we have some standards that we talk about. If you hit them, you do. If you don't, you don't. And we try our best. So,
Well, I have something to say about that. You just stressed me out.
oh no.
So my first year, I want to say this because I did not know this. I had to learn this. My
Hmm.
first year in business, like you stated at the beginning, I had to have everything up and running, presented to the state before I got my license. For
I know.
me, during that time, it took me 7 months. So I had 7 months of pretending, I will call it, like I had workers' comp and all of this caregiver, with this going because that's how the insurance people set me up. So when it was my year audit for workers' comp, I had to pay them back almost $1,000 because I didn't meet the payroll requirement that they said that I had to meet.
To
And that was
me,
all, yes, that was all because 7 months of that I was waiting on the state to give me my
yeah.
license.
Yeah, I wish somebody would talk to the states about, maybe a couple of weeks before they're going to give you your license, let's buy workers' comp then or something. This is crazy. It is crazy.
And then like
So,
having to report, I knew my biggest thing was like I kept getting audit letters. And so it's like I don't have anything to report. And then just the headspace that it takes, even though there was nothing to
mhm,
report, you still have to respond, you still have to say something. It's
Right.
like we have enough going on that like,
right.
so yeah, it's a bit frustrating. Yeah.
Well, Cassie, my account manager, she's like the audit queen. And she holds everybody's hand through the audits and then through registering on the carrier website of how you're going to report your payroll. And we talked about, as an owner, do you include yourself? Most owners don't, but every once in a while, I have somebody who wants to include themselves. Just know that your salary is going to go into the premium calculation. So, we have those conversations too. But everything's pretty much a conversation and a discussion so that you understand what you're buying and what you need.
Okay, I have more questions. I appreciate you guys. Look at you guys asking questions. Normally they're a little shy.
Mhm.
Michael, hello. Between professional liability and general liability, which one do you think a home care company should consider?
So you need to have both. And for your certificates and for your licenses, you will need to have both. General liability is protection, let's see, against claims that you might have while on the job, or say somebody walked into your home care agency and slipped and fall, that's your general liability. Your professional liability, even though your caregivers aren't giving out medications, giving shots, giving medical care, that would come from, you would have a professional liability claim if um, they didn't call 911 when your client was in distress or something, or if they ran a bath for your client and the water was too hot, they're going to call that a professional liability claim. So you need to have both, and generally you do. Professional liability costs a little bit more than general liability, but if your insurance carrier understands what you do, they will, you know, you will have both together. So,
Thank you. And if you guys have questions for your questions, like follow up after Jennifer asks, just put it back in the chat and I'll respond for you.
mhm.
Wow, that is an eye opener, Michael said. Okay, so the next question is from Alan. He said, "No, Mike, located in Michigan with healthcare experience and very motivated to explore the market and learn about non-medical home care. No, no agency has been created, no licensing requirements in the early stages, but thanks to your help, I'm able to streamline the research process and better gauge expectations, responsibilities, and liabilities. I'm very passionate about providing the necessary care that so many around me need. I will likely be in touch when I reach the appropriate steps. Thank you for your time and expertise." Oh, you're welcome, Ellen. No, not a question. I'm sorry. Yeah, I meant everybody introduced themselves too. So yes, thank you. Nice to meet you, Alan from Michigan. Yeah, and please unmute yours if you do have a mic. Make sure to unmute yourself and introduce yourself to Jennifer.
Mhm.
I see Lacey here. I haven't seen her in a while. It's nice to see you back, Lacey.
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Miriam.
Hi,
My name
Michael.
is, my name is Michael, and I'm based in Tennessee. My wife
Mhm.
and I, we run a home care business here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Mhm.
And thank you, Miriam, for putting this together. And Jennifer, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Oh, sure.
Uh, we really do appreciate it. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
Thank you,
And
Michael.
I always tell people, even if you're not a client, you want to call us for just to ask a question. That's all we do is home care. So Cassie and I are always available to just answer a question, just to say, because home care is a weird industry. It's not like running a restaurant. It's not like anything else. So it helps to have the ins and outs. And I did have caregivers for my father before he passed a couple of years ago, and he had dementia for a few years. So, you know, I saw his caregiver at work, and I saw what he did and she did for him. And it was very eye-opening. It wasn't just like the insurance and I do it from afar. I actually got to see it in action. And, you know, I know I made mistakes too. I think I let her take the dogs out, which I shouldn't have let her do, you know. So it was a very learning experience to see what they actually do when they're in people's homes.
Jennifer, I would like
Mhm.
to ask, what is your take as regards to hiring a caregiver as a 1099 employee? Would you advise hiring a caregiver as a 1099 employee or as a W-2 employee?
I would advise doing it as a W-2 because then your insurance is going to cover it. I have seen a trend lately that there's a company called Ally Care, I think, and they are promoting a home care registry model that I don't believe in. I think that there's people that are signing up for that and saying, you know, these are 1099s, they're not employees. And I think when they get audited by the insurance companies, they're going to find out that the insurance companies consider them employees and there will be workers' comp premiums due. Um, I'm very hesitant of that model. I tend to, for somebody to be a 1099 and not a W-2 for insurance purposes, they have to have their own insurance. So if you are calling somebody a caregiver a 1099, that means they have their own liability insurance. So if you can confirm that, then they're a true 1099. If they don't, they just say, I want to be paid on my own, you're going to get stuck for the workers' comp on that, and your general liability may not cover them. If something happens and they're working with one of your clients, it may not cover you. So I I am pretty much a rule follower there. I stick with W-2s. If you have I have some home care agencies that hire nurses that have, you know,
Nurse
their license
insurance. Yeah.
and then they get professional insurance, but
Mhm.
it's very hard to find insurance for a home care worker that's non-medical. I do have a source that can get you that insurance, but I, I don't, I haven't seen a lot of success there without giving you my whole opinion.
And I'm on the same page with Jennifer as far as hiring having a 1099 is just the peace of mind, the coming from knowing that I have a, you know, my direct employee, and if anything's to happen to the client or the employee, that I'm protected, you know. So it's a lot of peace of mind, especially like with the staffing. The people are coming up with creative ways to have caregivers, and I'm just not here for it. I don't think it's gonna last very long. I think what's gonna make you stand out and be the preferred or trusted agency is that you have your W-2 employees. I know that
Right.
was a huge selling point for me when we went to an event, and almost out of like seven home care agency, I was the only one that had W-2, like solid W-2 employees. Everybody else was using this what's it called? Honor. And so because of that, that fact alone, I could have not said anything at all other than I had W-2 employees and not the honor system, which it was like a third party staffing thing. I left with like two referral sources in my pocket because they knew that I had my hands on my employees. So
Mhm.
yeah, just my opinion is standing with Jennifer's about that whole 1099 situation.
Right. Well, and then you're vetting out your employees too.
Hmm.
And you, as the employer and the agency, you have crime coverage, third-party crime coverage that covers caregiver theft should they steal from your clients, which is what you need to have. And I'm not sure that those bonds, those crime bonds cover when they're 1099s. I mean, personally, when I went through it to find a caregiver for my father, you know, I looked at everything and sure, you could go to Craigslist and just
Yeah.
find somebody, but then you take the chance that would you run the background check on them? Would you run your MBRs? Do you know that they're a solid person and that like for me, my father's belongings, I wanted to make sure that they weren't going to show up on eBay in a week, so I went with an agency. And I encourage my agencies to say, I've got crime coverage. I do background checks on my employees. These are thoroughly vetted, good people that you would want in your house with your loved one. So just my take.
So we have and Michael, if you have another question, that's fine. Okay, he said thank you. Chinwe said, do you also work with group home owners?
Yes, I do have one. Actually, she's up in Alaska.
Oh wow.
Hawaii is the only state I don't have clients in.
Oh wow. Just for the rest of us, what exactly is a group homeowner? Like
So
the rehab homes?
no, well, it can be a rehab home. Um, and there's also kind of a movement to own or rent a house and have two to a bedroom, and you
Like
have somebody that
RCFEs?
stays there full. What, I'm sorry,
RCFE? Are you talking about RCFEs?
I don't know what an RCFE
Those
is.
are the 6 bed homes?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay. So that's what it is. The group home is like the 6 bed boarding.
Residential care
Right.
facilities,
Oh, I
boarding
Okay.
see.
care.
Okay, okay,
Mhm.
Yep.
okay.
Yep. I do have my one client. Well, I have two clients in Alaska, but that's one of the things she does as well. And so we do get her insurance. So yes. The one thing that is hard to get insurance for if you're thinking about this is non-emergency medical transport. Those are companies that transport people that aren't necessarily their home care clients, and that is very hard to insure. We can get it done, but I do have clients every once in a while who come to me and say, I'm thinking about doing this. And I'm like, well, the insurance for that is very expensive. Just know that. So,
Yeah, I changed my mind when I got the
mhm.
1,500. I'm not gonna pay 1,500 a month.
No, it's very expensive. Well, unfortunately, people, you have to know how to load people into vans. You have to have converted vans that can take wheelchairs. And it always looks bad when the person doesn't quite make it into the van and the wheelchair tips over and it's a
Oh my
hot
God.
mess.
That gave me instant anxiety.
Yeah, no, that's tough. So
And then
it gives insurance.
we had our caregiver training, our biannual training back in February, and we had dementia like role playing. And a couple of my caregivers were like really like role playing, throwing themselves on the ground and like I had to leave. I'm like, listen, we have great insurance. I pay a good penny for it, but this is too much. I need to leave. You guys are gonna hurt yourselves. I'm freaking out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then you have to put yourself in the client's place. I mean, they don't know what they're doing. That's the hard
Yeah,
thing. There's a lot of empathy involved in your business, and I have a lot of respect for you guys.
thank you.
Do
Um,
you have a list, I guess, or are you able to direct me in the right direction as far as Google go, where you recommend what all coverage policies do you recommend me to as the home care?
Taisha,
Well,
you're a little choppy. I don't know if it's
Can
yeah,
you
just
hear me?
me.
you and I could have a conversation because I'd want to know how many employees you have. Do you go into assisted living facilities? Do you just go into private homes? Are you part of a franchise?
Okay.
Um, what kind of services you offer? I have some clients that offer infusion therapy. So that's a whole different coverage too. So that's why I like to have a lot of conversations with people. It looks like my account manager has a question there. Is that right?
Oh
No,
no,
I
she's
Oh,
putting
I
your
just
guys'
put my
information.
I just
oh,
put
good.
contact
You go,
info
Kath.
just so that way you guys can have it as well.
Yeah, I
Okay.
dropped Jennifer's information in here
Yes, I
as
saw
well,
that.
and then
Oh,
Cassandra's
okay.
information is there also. Anna May, I'm sorry, Taisha, did you have anything else you wanted to say, or we cut you guys off?
Nope.
Yeah, okay,
Okay,
Taisha's
good.
good. All right, so Anna May said, "Good afternoon. My name is Anna May. I'm from California. I'm still researching on how to start home care. Thank you, Jennifer Miriam. I'm learning a lot. Good. Thank you for saying that. Yes, I do want this platform to be a resource for everybody who is starting or has already started. Um, and so I'm glad I'm able to get people like Jennifer, and then I know we had Craig and Tyler come. So um, I'm all about providing as much value as we can with actual people I trust. There's people that found out about my school platform and they want to do QA with me, but I'm like, let's let me feel you out for a little bit because I am very um protective of my community because I know uh, there's some poachers out there. And if I hadn't had my life experiences that I've had, I would have gotten swindled a few times. So I'm very particular about who I introduce. So if they're at my Q&A, I trust them. They're, valuable. They provide just like the same level of authenticity and honesty that I try to do for others. So like Jennifer said, like, she's super easy to talk to, and like anytime I've needed anything. And if you guys already have a carrier, I know Taisha, you said you already had a carrier, you're looking for something else. And I don't want to speak for Jennifer, but I can say from personal experience, she's very easy to talk to. She's not pushy. It's not like this saleswoman pitch that she does.
No.
She's just very human and easy to talk to, and like you guys can tell, she's just very authentic. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. We do have 10 minutes. I want you guys to ask any other questions you've got. I don't want to cut anybody's time short. Or
I just
Cassandra, if
want
you have anything you might want to add or chime in on, the floor is yours.
Yeah, just I appreciate the community that you have here. I'm getting used to using the schools, so it's really nice. Jennifer and I were kind of going through it, so hopefully I can get a little bit more tech savvy with it soon. But yeah, whatever you guys need, like Miriam was saying, reach out to Jennifer or myself. You guys have our contact information in the chat, so feel free to call us or email us with whatever questions, and we're here, for whatever you guys need.
Thank you, Cassandra. I appreciate it. I'm gonna repost your guys' number and email
Okay,
again.
great.
I'm gonna keep the chat open so you guys can ask questions.
It looks like there's a few coming through.
Oh, Alan, what are the most common challenges, setbacks, and failures you see from all of your clients?
That's probably for you. I
For me?
see.
Oh, I'm doing amazing. No, just is it for me? What are the most common challenges, setbacks, and failures you see from all your clients? Are you talking about both?
Oh, both. I see people that are trying to do this on a shoestring, and I think you do have to have your financing together. You do have to set your budget. You do have to probably all the things that Miriam helps you with this. You have to know where you're going to market your clients from, where you're going to get your clients from. You need to have a good pipeline of clients. You can't just open your shingle and hang up your shingle and say, "Hey, I'm ready to go." You need to have good caregivers. So I would say that's it. I've I did have a client who was doing a lot of um, Medicaid and relying on them for reimbursements, and she ended up going out of business because the slowness of Medicaid. So I do kind of talk to my clients about that a little bit, even though it's not really my area of expertise, but it seems like private pay is those are the ones that are thriving.
And yes, and Alan, to answer your question from my perspective, I've had a couple businesses in the past and I've done service-based things before, and I learned during those businesses what an ideal client is, like what a good client is, what is the client that I want to work with. So I had a little bit of leverage when I started the in-home care agency. And I remember in the very beginning, you're hungry, you want clients, you pretty much kind of just take whoever comes at you. And I realized I was doing that in the beginning, and without fail, any client that I felt like wasn't a good fit, it was always that client that I seemed to have problems with. So any clients that were like nickel and diming me for like the hourly rate, instead of being like, you know what, maybe I'm not the home care agency for you, because this is my rate, and I would kind of like fold and do whatever rate they wanted. That was normally the client that gave me the most grief. Or it was I tried to do like the VA and something else. I can't remember. It was some other program, and I think just God's grace, I got denied. So then I had no choice but to do private pay and long-term care insurance. And now looking back on it, I was like, man, that's gonna be so hard. Like, how many people can pay private pay, long-term care insurance? I gotta like do all this stuff. And honestly, it was actually a blessing, because then my only focus was like private pay and this is our prices. And so it's either you guys can come with us or you guys can't. So knowing that I didn't want to do this back and forth with clients who were trying to nickel and dime me, and then knowing that I could only take private pay has saved me so much grief with like any challenges or issues that I've had with clients. So I've been very blessed in the sense that I got a lot of doors shut on me with like the VA, and I can't remember what the other program was, and then realizing that I just can't fight for my prices. It was just not worth it. So that was a nice hard lesson learned early. And the doors that closed ended up being favors to me. So yeah, I hope that
Yes.
answered your question. Fuad had a question here. Are there any liabilities insurance required for any of the home care accreditations?
No. It helps you to get accreditations. Like it helps your credibility to when I talk to my carriers, and they will ask on some of the insurance applications, are you accredited with, say, CASA is the one here in California, or this and that. And that helps, it gives you, the underwriters give you more credits if you're accredited. So it can certainly help, but it doesn't, your licensing is going to be more if you're non-medical, and you have some states that license caregivers and you have some states that don't require any at all. So accreditations can always help though.
How did I know of CASAs? I guess I can Google it, but I never even thought of like getting accreditations through, different groups and stuff.
Oh, I see it on people's on their website, and it's more for licensed people that are licensed as far as they have RNs. They do
Oh,
more
I
than
see.
home care. They
Okay.
do more than personal care. Then you see it a lot too.
I want to know how you get on those like top best company of the year like lists.
Well, it depends on whose list it is, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, because I've seen a lot of those like little logos on certain
Mhm.
agencies, like voted #1 in Herald Street, like some
Right.
random obscure place. Yeah, I mean, it's still nice. It's nice to have.
No,
Yeah.
they are good.
Yeah. You guys have any more questions? Let me make sure I didn't forget any. Nope. Seems like they're good. Well, thank you, Jennifer and Cassandra.
You're
I appreciate
welcome.
you guys so much. I hope you come back.
Oh, we will. We will.
Okay.
And we'll be looking
Definitely,
on your
definitely.
blog too. And if we see insurance questions that we know we can jump in and easily answer, we're happy to do that.
And if it's okay with you guys, if with you, Jennifer or Cassandra, if we can just tag you, maybe,
Oh, yeah.
I know sometimes threads can get really congested, and maybe we could just tag
Hmm.
you. And I do that with Tyler too. I'll tag him, like, hey, we need
Oh,
help.
good.
Yeah.
Good. Yep.
Bob has
Excellent.
one more question.
Okay.
Chinwe said, thank you, Jennifer.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's
No,
see.
I do hope my guests come back for multiple visits to the community, and I appreciate you guys. While
Great.
Fuad writes it, I am going to paid eventually sometime, only because I noticed there's a lot of floaters and people that are not taking this the community very serious. And so again, I'm going to paid, but it's only $29.99. And then everybody's going to be grandfathered in that has started it with me, but whoever doesn't respond to the purge, I'm going to probably clean the membership list soon, because we're at 200 plus, but I think only maybe 40 to 50 are active. And to me, I'm not about the vanity metrics. I don't care about the numbers. I care more about the engagement and the type of value that we provide. So anybody who's been here and responds to the purge, I will make sure to keep you guys on for free. Well, Miriam, do you think long-term care and private pay clients are better when getting started? What do you advise in your experience? Uh, so yes, because nobody knows who you are in the beginning. And getting into those bigger contracts or I do know you, how do I answer this? So long-term care and private pay in the beginning, I think is a good idea. It gets your foot in the door. It's harder to get, I will admit, but trying to network and build your credibility and work on the bigger contracts is a bit harder, especially when you're a newer agency, because they need to trust that you have the staff, they need to trust that you have the training. They need to know that whoever they're putting their clients into. Because I know a couple of our members right off the gate got contracts with like facilities, and which was great, but that's more of the exception than the rule. But in the beginning, private pay is always great. Like you get, it's just cash.
Mhm.
You get it. You know you're getting paid, and it's good. Long-term care. There's some long-term care policies that there's a limit, from my understanding. So after a certain month, if they meet the amount of however much they're allocated, that can take effect. I haven't personally run into that issue, thankfully. Um, but I mean, cash is king, baby. Like I think private pay is amazing if you can get it. That's great. Yeah.
You
Long-term care
know,
insurance, there's a ton of long-term care policies that are out there that, you know, can help with that too.
I just from because I've joined it just to find out a lot of things. I joined the county office on aging, and they have monthly meetings, and I go there and I see a lot of home care workers go there. It's usually held at a residential facility, but I do a lot of networking there. And I think it's a good way to hear, it's an open forum like this, and you can hear other people's issues. So I go to my monthly one here, but I always, when I have people in different areas, it's like, go contact your local office on aging. Go find out if they have a committee or meetings you can sit in on, because you learn so much from other people's issues. So,
Yeah. And I can only speak on my experience personally. I only have done private pay and long-term care, and it's been great for me. We are trying to get into like the facilities, but I know for a fact that we won't be doing Medicare or VA. I know that already, so I can't speak on that. And if there's somebody in the community that has the other programs and wants to say anything about, the veterans program or the other options, please feel free. But it's been great for me. So yeah, that's all I have to say. I appreciate you guys again. And we will see you guys in the community. And Jennifer, I'm sure I'll be texting
yep.
randomly as I normally do. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate the time on here. Thank you.
Bye, Jennifer. Bye,
Bye
guys.
bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. Thank you.
Bye.